People deluded. Now, rather sadly, Hector Bellerin looks to be out for the rest of the season, and if you look at some reports going through doing the round, on certain newspapers, he could miss the start of next season. It's a kick in the teeth for the guy. I mean, it's a new season under a new manager. Obviously, the team's been a bit up and downs, but I think Bellerin's done all right on the face of it. He's had a decent season. Of course, he could improve defensively, but I think he's shown small improvements in that aspect and actually had some good standout performances within that regards. Offensively, we know in today's market, you've got to essentially be a right winger, essentially, even if you are a fullback, which he is. And we did challenge him to get more, well, not really goals, but if he could add some assists in the final third, and he's got 5 or 6 or so in the Premier League. Fair enough, 2 came against Leicester. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but he's had a decent season. Right back's a weakness of ours because we know if Bellerin's not fit or he gets injured, there's a bit of oohs and ahs. Jenkinson, he divides opinion. Lichtsteiner again defines opinion, and if you're honest, well, from my opinion, I don't think he's at the level to contribute. Maitland-Niles isn't a fullback, but it can be used there and has had some good games. Then obviously you've got other scenarios and other situations you could make use of or develop in your head in terms of who could play fullback. But it's sad for Bellerin, man. It's a kick in the teeth. Like I said, it puts us in a difficult position because I don't know whether the club's gonna look for a fullback or not. I say that because immediately you would think, yeah, you need to sign a fullback because I've just essentially said if something happens to Bellerin, it's kind of mad. So you'd think we need to get a fullback either, I hope, permanently or on loan or in some capacity to fill that gap, because if you're looking at it, it's a big ask to really and truly. Maitland-Niles, like I said, had some good games and he'd probably be my option, but he's not a fullback and obviously he'd get games and at the end of the day he's in the squad now, he has to perform, but yeah, it's not really a certain option. Lichtsteiner, you don't know what you're gonna get, and Jenkinson, you don't know what you're gonna get game to game. So to really bet on that in January, where the market's still open and clubs will know we're desperate now because it's all been seen. But to bet on January to May and rely on what we've got, I'm not too sure. Obviously, you could probably move around certain defenders. We can obviously play 3 at the back, and instead of playing a wing back, play a winger. There's ways to get around it. But considering this club, at least what they tell us, they want to get back into the top 4. We've obviously got the Europa League, which we need to take seriously. We're still at this moment in time. Obviously, we've got United, but at this moment in time, we're still in the FA Cup, so we're competing on some fronts for a trophy. So, or to try and finish in the top 4 at least, or at least a respectable position. There's a lot to bet on, so you'd think we're kind of vulnerable now. We've lost a fullback. I mean, you'd like to be in Liverpool's position, ironically, where they're loaning out fullbacks to Bournemouth and that, because such is the situation there. It puts us in a tough spot. I say that because also on the other hand of it, for bringing in a fullback, they'd probably be looking at it in that we've got Maitland-Niles, we've got Lichtsteiner, like I've said, we've got Jenkinson. We can probably change formations or at a push play some players there. There's obviously some young players. I hope they would look at Vontae Daly-Campbell, but it seems like this club just don't want to bust the guy. Osei Tutu was rated in pre-season by Unai, so that could be an avenue. Obviously, I'm thinking into next season, and Chambers might not even be at their club, depending on what he wants to do with his future. I know he signed a new deal, but they could be looking at is that they've got all of this depth within the squad already in terms of that position. Chambers, we know he's not a fullback, but they could push him there. So they could be looking at it on the basis of bodies and decide, okay, let's move for other areas or do things in other areas, despite the fact we need to buy someone there if we're really under financial constraints and have to be smart and probably concede that we can't do certain things. I don't know. Like I said, I would look to bring in a fullback, but it is what it is in that regards. It's sad for Bellerin because obviously it did look like a bad injury. He was down the stretcher. You don't need to be a physio to know that injury looked bad. It didn't look good for him. I have to ask, I'm not critiquing the club and things like that, because obviously for him to play on a match day, he's obviously told the manager or the coaching staff, either to his detriment or to his benefit, that he's fit and he can play. Obviously, he's essentially the club's investment, so they've ran their fitness tests and he's probably been on other training programs with other physios while the other boys are training and that. So they've probably deemed he's fit. If they deem he's fit, then ultimately plays, and this is an unfortunate casualty. But just looking at it from the other hand, playing devil's advocate, or just looking at it as a fan who might not necessarily know what's happening, I see it that Bellerin he's 9 times out of 10, he's always in the squad, and he's been playing a lot of games. Last couple weeks, he's actually, this injury makes it kind of shuts out what's happened. But prior to this injury, he was out for a significant time. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Obviously, forgive me if I'm wrong again. But he came off the bench against West Ham. He got 20 or so minutes. I could be wrong, but I'm sure there was a game he did that. Then obviously he got 72 against Chelsea. So was he rushed back from a prior injury? And obviously the way, again, I'm not a physio and these things, but the way Bellerin plays, he relies a lot on pace and explosive movements. If his calf, obviously that's where a lot of your power and things come from, and a lot of movements, and typically an area where footballers break down. Obviously he's a fullback, so he has to get up and down. So as he's been exerting that, could that be as a result of him not being fully fit because of the previous injury and being rushed back? Again, I don't know, and probably is not the case. It's just an unfortunate thing, but hopefully he's not out for the start of next season, because it's tough, man, because he's been flying when he was fit. He's had some injuries, and now he's got the big one, and it's going to be a lonely road to recovery for the lad, to be honest with you. Fingers crossed well, I'm not a physio, he probably does require major surgery, but fingers crossed it's the most minor of surgery procedures as possible. It's the ones that can return him quickly, not even to full fitness, just into healthy spirit, so he can do whatever he needs to do in his daily life with the use of his leg. All I can do is say a speedy recovery, and hope he has the right mentality and the right support network around him. I mean, it's easier for me to say because at the end of the day, I'm not the one who's going to have to go through all the long road to recovery. Is similar to Oxlade-Chamberlain. I know he's not connected to the club, but obviously I hope he gets fit. It's nice to see that. I think he's in Dubai doing his training stuff. He's kicking a ball and that again, and he's been out for a while. And for him, it's obviously, I don't want to say it, but he's left Arsenal to obviously want to win trophies at Liverpool, and they're having a terrific run in the FA Cup, sorry, in the Premier League. In terms of possibly winning that, and he's not, obviously he's there, he's supporting the boys, but he's not essentially a part of it. So I have a lot of sympathy for these lot of players, man. I know we look at these players essentially as robots, and to be honest, us fans, we don't always look at these players from a human point of view. Before he's a footballer, he's a human, and the man's got his own life. Again, I'm not a physio, so I don't know how it impacts him. Will he be able to walk and go upstairs and all of these things, which I think he will. But health comes first, and Bellerin, I wish you a speedy recovery, and I hope you return to full health. But in regards to Arsenal, I don't know where this puts us, man. I would be looking for a fullback, but I don't really see the club are going to move for a right back, and it's probably put a spanner in their works in regards to other little transfer stuff you're seeing with Arsenal. But there's not much more for me to say anyway, so I'm not going to force it. I'm going to get out of here. So people, if you wish, comment, subscribe, like the video for me, and just damn right, thank you for watching. I'm out.